Hello. I apologize for the loud tree cutting sounds in the background. I don't know how well you can hear it, but they're cutting down a tree in the neighborhood. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video talking about, or almost giving like a postscript to the series we just did on the law of belief, because we had a great group coaching session yesterday, and we were talking more about the law of belief. And, I think I went over this pretty well last video, but I just want to expand upon it a little bit more, that the law of belief I believe in, or like I see as an approach in theory to the law of attraction, law of assumption, manifesting, whatever you want to call it. I look at the law of belief approach as, if you're going to call something a law and you're using these principles, it's a pretty good thing to call a law. But is it actually a law? No. Like all these supposed laws, it's just theories. The law of attraction is a theory. The law of assumption is a theory. The law of belief is a theory. I just think the law of belief is a very good theory. But, we were talking in yesterday's group session about stuff that is pretty obvious when you spell it out. When you get out of this small LOA circle where everybody's like often very dogmatic, like I said last video, black and white about something, like it's definitely this way or it's not. It's all or nothing. In which teachers like Murphy and Neville sometimes can be like, and many other LOA teachers where it's like, this is how things work. That's a very common new thought approach, is like everything is caused by thought. And we were just talking yesterday how that's not necessarily true. I don't think that's true. And most people with common sense, like a good amount of common sense, who apply these ideas successfully, don't think that's true either. Belief, what you believe, has an obvious effect on your life. I think almost all of us will agree with that if you're watching this channel. But it doesn't mean it affects everything and is the only factor in why your life is going the way it is. It's not. I mean, if you think about it, you can probably think of times when you did not believe you were going to get something and then you got it. You've probably had experiences like that. And, according to Coué, that really shouldn't happen, and all these other people too. So there's more to it. This is a nuanced point. And as I said last video, it's meant to be interpreted practically. I would say most of the time, generally speaking, that's important to emphasize, not always, not an actual law, but generally speaking, most of the time when you believe in something, especially that you can do something, or that something is going to shift, it shifts or it changes or you get it in some significant way, at least energetically, meaning emotionally, like you feel better about the situation. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you had like an SP situation, right? And you wanted to get back together with, an old partner or something like that, or someone you missed. And you really believed that you were going to do it and that you were going to get this shift, right? You really believed it was going to happen. What I'm saying is you might not get the partner back, but you're going to get the closure, the emotional closure, the energetic closure that resolves the issue for you in all likelihood. Meaning that you'll either meet someone else who's a better fit for you as a relationship, or you'll just feel all of a sudden, after believing this for a while, the burden will be lifted. And you'll be like, you know what, I just wish love for myself and for the other person, and, it wasn't meant to be, and I'm moving on with my life. But I don't think if you believe hard enough, you're automatically going to get that person back. I think you very well can, but is that always going to happen? No. And it's like this for so many things. We were talking yesterday in session, like about like, cults and like people who have these belief systems that are very strong, and they're fucking wrong. What they expect to happen and believe is going to happen does not happen. Again, you get outside of these LOA circles and people are like, yeah, use common sense. Like, of course that wasn't going to happen. And, there's this whole other approach. I'll put a link above. One of my favorite videos I've done this year. Just talking about, quoted from this book, Bending Reality, just talking about like, there's all these awesome modalities we can utilize when it comes to manifesting principles. in spiritual principles in general. This law of belief is just one modality, one approach. It resonates with me. It resonates with a lot of people. I think it's a great way to have a working basis, as Murphy says, with these principles. It makes sense to, like, if you believe something, it will probably come to pass. That makes sense, right? But like another really good modality that I know works well for a lot of people, including myself, is more of like the letting go modality, where like you let go and let God. That doesn't have much about belief. Often, like, let's say you want something, right? And then you give up. Like, for instance, let's do the SP thing again. You want that person back in your life, or you want a boyfriend or girlfriend. And you are just, after a while, you're like, you know what? I don't believe, I give up. I'm going to let this go completely. When you let it go, you no longer really are consciously believing that that thing is going to show up. You're just like, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it freaking go. And then once you really do let it go and stop believing or thinking it's going to happen or not happen or anything, you get to that neutral place that, like, Richard Dotz always talks about. Only then does some kind of energetic manifestation show up. And again, it might just be you feel better about the situation and it's like you just move on with your life. Or it might be that you manifest that person, that specific person that you no longer believed you could manifest. All of a sudden, when you truly let go, that person manifests. Point being, there's more to this than just any law, including the law of belief. The law of belief makes a heck of a lot of sense. And that's why I love talking about Coué, love quoting Murphy, because they make a lot of practical sense and they give you a working basis for working with these manifesting principles. But is the law of belief all there is to this? Of course not. It often seems like it is. And belief without question shapes your life. But it's not the only modality. And a modality like letting go, releasing the pressure, going into the void, the absolute method, whatever you want to call it, resting in God is often more effective for people. So it's whatever works. But on a day-to-day practical basis, the law of belief is something to keep in mind, because it just is so obviously true that, like, what you believe, like, your beliefs are shaping how you react to things and how you feel, right? It just makes a lot of pragmatic sense. That was the primary point to this video series about the law of belief. I don't like black and white thinking. I don't like extremists when it comes to this stuff. This is nuanced. If it really was as black and white as a lot of people on YouTube say, more people would have success with it. Because a lot of people they genuinely believe it's going to happen, but it still doesn't happen for them in the way they want. So we have to use maturity, common sense, and appreciate the nuances to these principles and appreciate how we feel and what we're going through and observing that in order for it to work better in our lives, at least in my opinion. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, www.radicalcounselor.com.